Hey, what's up, fam? And welcome back again to Recap Kickback presents Interview with a Black Ass Vampire here on recapkickback.com. It's me, your host, Chappell, and that's it. That's the end of it. There's nothing else. Season 2, episode 8 is over. And with me to talk about it, finally, Mari Forth. Mari, we did it.
We did it. Yay.
Yay. Oh my God. I have been waiting for this moment for so long. Let's talk.
Yes, I am actually glad that like the finale is gonna be its own podcast, because I think last week was like a good fun appropriation of outraged anger, and I got everything off my chest and I feel much better. And now I'm just like, whatever for this finale. And yes, I mean, in a good way. In a good way. I would have needed a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like if we had did 7 and 8 together, I don't think I would have cared about this finale, because I would have still been mad at episode 7.
Right. No, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yes. If you are joining us for the first time, what are you doing? Go back to the beginning of this, because we have been talking about Interview with the Vampire seasons 1 and 2, 2 episodes at a time, roughly, for the last few weeks. And because I had to get Mari caught up. And so if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, recapkickback.com/subscribe, youtube.com/@recapkickback to see us here on YouTube, so you can join the conversation, join in the comments, let us know what you think about this show, because we have completely finished seasons 1 and 2 of Interview with the Vampire, and we are now awaiting Interview with the Vampire season 3, aka the Vampire Lestat. And so we are going to talk about all of that and more in this podcast. But of course, make sure you like this YouTube video, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Hit like so other people can find the video, and so they can be here for our journey when we continue later on in 2026 with this journey for Interview with the Vampire. Still don't have a date, Mari, but the Vampire Lestat is coming one day, one day in 2026. But until then, Mari, overall, let's just start there. Big picture, overall, do you feel like we stuck the landing here with the finale of season 2?
Yes. I mean, overall, as in Louis Dupont du Lac's story has come to an end. It's sewed up. It's done. It's tight. It's gone. Like I'm good. Like again, after so much release from the previous episode, I thought this episode was good in the sense of revenge, you know, and all of that. So I like this. I thought they stuck the landing. I have no notes.
Yes.
Other than bring Claudia back, but no notes.
Bring back my girl. Yeah. So at the end of this, I want to speculate about some of the stuff in season 3 and maybe get into a little bit of the spoilery stuff from the books. So if you were listening to this, be ready to tap out at the end of this if you don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But we're going to talk about what season 3 can look like, but we do have to get into this finale. And as Mari said, it was a finale riddled with revenge, because Louis has awoken from his slumber. Basically a horrible slumber, you know, rocks in pebbles everywhere, his body healing around those pebbles, little pebbles still stuck in his skin to this day to remind him of the pain and the betrayal from this coven and from Armand and from the Vampire Lestat, as he was starving to death. Mari, this man said he was starving and didn't even know it because he was screaming. Well, he knew he was starving. He didn't know he was screaming. And he said, had I known I was screaming, I'd have known I had enough energy to then set my clothes on fire and then just kill myself, but I couldn't. So Louis starts off this episode down bad.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The use of like vampire dynamics here, because one, they didn't tell us how long he was in there. I think in the book or in the original movie, I think he's only in there for like a day before like he's let out and rescued, but they don't really tell us how long he's actually in there. It's implied that it was for a long time, but I think that's intentional, because again, I don't think Louis knew how long he was in there. But I thought it was interesting, his quote unquote sleep in that coffin versus what we see a little bit later in the episode with the other vampires sleeping in the coffin. But you know, Louis and the actor, what's the name of the actor again?
Jacob Anderson.
His opening the episode and him talking about the pain and the anguish and everything he felt in that drawer was so good. It was such a good moment. And even up to when he's rescued and how he kind of like dissociates himself, where he was like, he says, I am dead, but my rage and my anger or whatever wasn't. And he's propelled for this act of revenge through his rage and his anger and all of that. So I mean, amazing work there from Jacob Anderson.
He had been living his life for Claudia for so long. You know, Claudia was the thing that kept him alive when he was in that loveless relationship with Lestat in the early days. When he's like, save Claudia, I'll do whatever it takes to save Claudia. You know, him and Claudia have been through thick and thin. When she wasn't talking to him, she was just dragging him through the countryside. He was right there with Claudia the whole time. He finally relinquished Claudia to the world. He said, all right, you got this new vampire lady, you and Madeline, y'all go kick it. I'm okay with this. I think I'm all right. And then everything just falls apart in front of him. And now he will never have Claudia again. And yeah, it does feel like he's empty. He's a shell of a vampire. You know, he's lost his fledgling and he's lost his sister. And he just, and he's lost, honestly, the love of his life twice. You know, he's lost Lestat, but in a way, he's also lost Armand in this moment. He remembers that Armand set him up. And so he's in this coffin going through a range of emotions, mostly rage, and just trying to either like, I guess, and not really trying to get out, but just literally just suffering. It's literally just starving to death for an undisclosed amount of time, while Armand tells us that he was demoted and ridiculed for saving Louis. It's really hard to leave this Armand reveal to the end, but we'll talk about it when we get there, because he says, yeah, Santiago outwitted him and it hurt him deeply. And then they would rehearse the play and all this kind of stuff, but he wouldn't be there for that. You know, like this whole elaborate scheme was happening. Armand was just helpless. There was nothing he could do to save Louis.
Yeah. So yeah. So
justice for Armand?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Armand does save him out of the wall.
He does.
Cuts his arm open. Louis comes back through his blood and stuff, and then starts planning his revenge. I mean, because I do kind of want to save the spoiler for
we gotta save it for the end. We gotta get there.
But
so yeah, we're told that Armand leaves a sacrifice. Basically, he leaves some blood for Louis to then snack on, and he also takes Louis' coffin and exchanges it for someone else's. So now Louis is free to roam, and instead of getting out of Paris as Armand would like, Louis has decided on a revenge plot because he has lost his damn mind. Like, we're not, this is not Louis, you know, sound of mind. This is Louis muttering this Arya style kill list, you know, about, and like planning. Truly. He's literally talking to a corpse at different points. You know, we talked about how Louis was talking to Dreamstat throughout the season. And this is very much that, right?
I like this. Yeah. This to me cemented Dream Lestat. This was like, just in case if y'all were wondering, no, this Louis was indeed crazy. But he was indeed talking to himself. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like,
he even demanded that the dream version of that corpse speak English. You know, like he was arguing with the thing. He's like, all right, speak up. Now tell me what it is that I should do. You know, he was looking to it for counsel. And we find out that Armand reaches out to him and is saying, Louis, what are you doing? You need to leave. You need to leave. And Louis like, I ain't trying to hear none of that. I just have one question. Did you save me for during the play? And of course, Armand says, yes. And Louis warns him to not be around when curfew happens, because as you and I both forecasted a couple episodes ago, we saw the article. We're about to burn down the theater.
Yeah. So we knew this was coming. As Louis is getting his strength back, attacking all these people and muttering every single vampire's name to himself, he walks into the vampire theater of the vampire. And this is what I was like plot hole, right? Because he says, when a vampire truly commits to the coffin, it's like all sound goes away, blah, 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 blah. So it goes back to what I've been kind of talking about for this whole series. It's like they have been playing very fast and loose with like when the vampires can be up, you know, them going back to the true death during the sun hours and being up. Because I don't know if I really talked about it in the last episode, but I was definitely thinking it because that was a matinee showing, and every single one of those vampires were up and awake. And even a fledgling shouldn't have been up and awake like that. But I'm assuming that's why Madeline was reacting like that, like why she was like kind of out of it the whole time throughout the play, I'm assuming. But anyways, Louis says because they have committed themselves to the coffin, the world goes away with them. He says, I could have been a marching band, they wouldn't have heard a sound. So when he goes to leave the fire, all of those vampires that were in those coffins were done until the fire starts. And I was like, again, I guess it's very inconsistent vampire mechanics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do your vampires return to corpses when the sun's up, or do they not? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really wish they had really set a better demarcation of that, because this almost felt like Twilight-y vampires in a sense of like they can be up during the day as long as they're not touching the sun. Yeah, type thing. Yeah. So, but it's whatever. That was just a small gripe. But he continues to then burn Theater de Vampire, and then has this very cool moment with Francois.
Oh, Santiago.
Francis.
Yeah. Oh, for Mr. Francis. Yeah. There's a moment where Daniel Malloy asked Louis, he asked Armand, so why did we not just think Armand was just going to warn, all of these vampires? He'd already betrayed Louis once, so why would he not just be like, hey, y'all, Louis coming to kill y'all? Armand says, I was just so lost without Louis. I just felt like without him, nothing really mattered at that point, So very much love Lauren, and this is all I could do was just watch it happen. Now, while this story is being told about Louis' great revenge, Daniel Malloy is texting with RJ. He's basically like IMing him, and he's asking for what I can assume is the script of that night, the actual firsthand accounts of what happened, because we don't see him with that originally. Eventually New Rashid will come in and drop off a newspaper and a envelope with that script, but when he's asked for it, the Talamasca people, RJ and them, they say, okay, well, we could do that for you, but we want some reciprocity. You give us something, we give you something. And so I don't think we ever find out what it is exactly that Daniel Malloy gives them, but they do deliver this script and it will come in handy later on. But back to Louis. Oh, go ahead.
I just say, because I rewatched this, of course, and on the first watch, I didn't know I was like, what is he asking for? But on the rewatch, I was like, it was really cool, like knowing what he was doing to like set it up. Like on the rewatch, you could tell every little trap that Malloy was setting for Armand, it like as he's guiding Louis through the story. It was so good.
Yeah. So Louis sets the vampires on fire. 6 of them die by fire, 2 of them by blade, and 1 by combination of 2. 9 total, 4 escaped. That was Celeste and Estelle, who get away on bike. Unluckily for them, Louis had already set that trap. And so he blows them up. And I believe those are Santiago's children. And so he felt that lost. And Louis made sure of it, because then Louis will call Santiago or Francis out and say to him some very famous words telepathically. He says, come to me. And we know those are the words Lestat said to Louis. Those are the words Lestat lied and said Louis said to him during that play. And now here Louis is demanding that Francis come to him. Come to me. As he lures him in to murder him. But I'll give it to Santiago. He gets some style points, because the trash talking he was doing on the way out,
Diabolical. Just diabolical.
Evil.
My God.
Yeah. He takes full credit
and
for
that's why
killing
he
Claudia.
got and that's why he got God. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. He takes full credit for killing Claudia. He says, I planned the deaths. I gave Claudia the exit. I used her ashes as eyeshadow, and then I put her in a pepper shaker, and then I even pleasured myself with her ashes as well, all to piss off Louis. But Louis knows Santiago so well. He's been reading his mind, obviously, and he knows some of his dark path. Were you surprised to hear about how Santiago came to be?
I absolutely loved that. I love this. It was so good. Like the juxtaposition of Santiago trying to get Louis mad, talking about Claudia, to Louis like reaching into the depths of Santiago and bringing up all of his insecurities. Like, oh no, your name is Francis. Like it was very like. It was very 8 Mile, right?
Yes, Clarence, you're not a gangster. Your real name is Clarence. And Clarence Ferris had a real good marriage. Hey man, ain't no such thing as halfway crooks, as they say.
Took myself out. Yes, like that. It was just like no, Francis, and he's like, and then your maker. He's talked about how he pissed on himself during the change and how he disgusted his maker, and then doing what Santiago had previously done to Louis, mimicking his voice. When he was asking, he was like, can I be called Santiago? Of course, it was better than that. I'm no Jacob Anderson, or whatever. But I was screaming, and just knowing that Louis was leading him to that trap, it was such a good, like, it was so cathartic. It was like, yes, go to your doom, Francis.
Even tonally, it's a very different tone than what we've been getting throughout. So when we started the season, Paris was, dark and gloomy. First of all, before we even got to Paris, it was dark and gloomy. It's the Holocaust, basically. It's just nasty times, right? We get to Paris and things are very like accordion, like that kind of thing. And now by this time, this is very like a comedic death. It's like giving like an old school heist movie almost, or something like that, where Louis set a trap for the guy, and so I really love the way the music cues worked here, because Louis jumps out and he just decapitates Santiago, but it's not like this really heavy moment. It's kind of like just this moment of like completion, right? Like it's like, whew, okay, done with that. But we know that there's so much more story to tell. Because that only shows us how Santiago dies, but we still have to figure out like how Louis and Armand, kind of come back face to face and become a couple. He ends up confronting Armand about when he started lying. When was it? When did you decide to do this big plan against me? And Armand's like, when I got back to the theater that day, when you told me you were going to make Madeline, the coven was just waiting there, and they threw this script at my feet and was like, this is what we're doing. Lestat was there. He says, did you rehearse it with him? I said, nope, I didn't rehearse it. I was in the coffin the whole time. I couldn't be involved. I was a hostage to this whole situation. And so Louis asked some good questions. He's like, so why didn't you just, if you knew this was a thing, why didn't you come home and then tell me, and then we could plan an exit strategy? But to that, Armand says, this is my coven of 200 years. And I just kind of just met you, and like I was in love with you, but I ain't know, how deep was our love really? I don't respect or like Armand, but I do think there is something valid to say that of 200 years, he was being asked to betray his coven for Louis, who would not play ball. Louis definitely was kind of like, all right, the coven is your life and this is my life. And the way Armand's life is working is that no, the coven governs the way the vampires act here, and you have to act within that. But since Armand is a little feckless as a leader, he really didn't put his foot down and let Louis win his own league.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. It's like Louis was like, what? Other couples have their own things. It's like that. This is not that. This is not that. Like technically, Louis is making Armand look weak in front of his coven. Like that's technically it. And Armand is being feckless, like you said. So and him telling Louis about like, oh, I didn't know like he just said, I didn't know where your loyalties lie. That was the realest thing he said to Louis, was like, oh, I wasn't sure about how long you would love me. But I thought it was fitting that he found Armand in Louis' old apartment. Like, I think that was a signal. Like, Armand wasn't at curfew, like Louis had warned them, but he was at their place. But I was just like, liar, like the whole time. I was like, you lying liar.
So I have to know, Mari, did you see the big twist coming? Before we even get to it, I need to know.
Yeah.
Did you see what Daniel Malloy ends up revealing as like a possible outcome here?
Absolutely not. I really didn't, because I haven't read the book in a minute, haven't watched the movie in a longer minute. So I did not see this coming. I do want to say really quickly though, that when Armand says, I'll spend my life trying to make it up to you, and Louis gets into, that's Claudia's coffin, I believe, that he gets into, right? Yeah, because
I wasn't paying attention.
I'm pretty sure that was her bed. Like, that was always her routine, I believe. She would flip the bed up, go to the coffin under the bed. Oh, okay. And he says, you'll never make it up to me. And then he gets into the coffin and he says, wake me up when it's dark again. He gets into the coffin, into that true state, right? You would think somebody who had just spent all this time in a dark cellar or whatever wouldn't want to get back into the coffin, especially in a very, as we just saw, vulnerable state. So he commits himself to a coffin in front of Armand after killing all those people. To me, was like a signifier of like, how he said, I plan to die. It was 13 of them versus me. I plan to die. It was like Louis just like kind of just like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he commits himself to the coffin in front of Armand. If Armand really wanted to kill Louis, he could have done it right then and there. And I think it was Louis also saying, like, kind of testing his trust in a way, because before he gets in, he says, I'll never trust you again, or you'll never make it up to me. And then he gets in. So it was kind of another test of trust to see what Armand would do while he was sleeping, I think.
No, that's such a good point, because on the one hand, at first I thought it was like emotional manipulation from Louis once again, like being like, you'll never make it up to me, but also we're stuck together, is kind of very Lestat, like you can't go nowhere, but you're also stuck with me type thing. Like Louis made Lestat miserable for a long time, with Lestat just being like, okay, like cheer up, and Louis like, no, I'm going to use my misery to piss you off, to kind of to make you feel things, right? And so at first I looked at it like that, but to your point, he doesn't feel anything right now. He said the rage left his body, but he doesn't have love anymore. Like, Claudia is gone. He's lost all of that. So yeah, if he can't trust Armand right now, then what are we doing? He's like, if you're going to kill me now. If not, then I guess we can work this out. But if I can't commit myself to coffin after what I just did and what I just said to you, then we might as well nip this in the bud. Let's get ahead of this.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but I do think that was like a big gesture, a big meaning to a small gesture, probably,
Yeah. So, I think my issue with Louis, of course, is that, okay, you'll never make it up to me, bet. Now, the next scene we get, Louis is like, so is Lestat still in Paris? Oh, he is. Let's go pull up on Lestat. And so they go pull up on Lestat, who is in Magnus's lair. I guess vampires have lairs. So he's in the lair, and this is a different Lestat. We haven't really seen this Lestat. He looks dejected, looks sad. I don't even know if sad is, he almost pathetic, I guess is the word I kind of want to go with.
Well, Louis says resigned. You look so small when he rolls up on him. Yeah, he says you look so small,
because it's so opposite of what we're used to. I mean, the Lestat we just saw was just commanding the room. He was front row center. He was in the back. He was on stage. He was over here. He was over there. He was talking to everybody. He was laughing. He was passing out hors d'oeuvres and shit. Like, this man was shaking hands, kissing babies a second ago, and now he looks like his life is over. And when they talk, Lestat cannot help but be petty. He kind of sees Armand, and Louis is just like, oh, I see y'all got a little space between y'all. Is it trouble in paradise? And even in those moments, Lestat knows. He knows the big reveal. But Mar, he says nothing. He's just like, if this is what you want, I guess. And watching it the first time, I was like, dang, this is crazy. This is how Lestat gonna go out. But once you know what is coming, you're like, damn, Lestat, you could have said something.
Exactly. The first time I was like, this telenovela is stupid. This is your death. I'm with him. Like, if y'all don't get out of here with that. I was like, this is stupid.
Louis a little dramatic. Louis a little dramatic.
Okay. A little. I was like, not y'all having some YA book fiction ass scene. I was like, okay, this is stupid, right? Now that scene makes Louis look even stupider because he all my man. And Lestat's like, whatever, girl. If you want to think that she saved you, go on ahead. Like, even worse. Just even worse on the rewatch.
Yeah.
But do you happen to have the words that Lestat said was saying when they rolled up?
No, not the words he had when he was kind of like mumbling to himself, because he was saying a bit of poetry or something. What was he reading?
So he was saying, what I think he was saying was the last words his maker said to him.
Oh, okay.
He said something to the effect of, ask me for the gift. I see the sun leaving those blue eyes of yours. Like, yeah, it was something like the sun is setting on those blue eyes, or blue eyes. Like, it felt like it was probably the last words his maker was saying to him before he changed them. To me, that would have been my guess.
I believe it was, ask for it, child. The light's going out of your blue eyes, like all the summer days are gone.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Does that not?
I mean, look, it sounds about right to me. Lestat said a lot of interesting things in this moment. I believe he calls Armand a gremlin, which
he sure did.
It's very petty. It's very petty. He was like, I think Louis asked him basically like, oh, is this where Magnus kept you chained to the wall? And Lestat's like, no, this was for the disappointments, the ones before me. He had a knack for design, Nordic blondes on the wall, dirty blondes in piles, right about where the gremlin stands. It's like, the gremlin is crazy. So petty. So petty. It's like, I see you got your new bitch, you know? But to that, Louis has come to kill kill Lestat. He says, you are going to die. I have the fire gift and I'm going to use it. And Armand's like, yeah, we about to jump you. This is the most interesting part, I think, of the episode to me, is that Armand, we know, is a very powerful vampire, or at least should be at this point, right? He's been alive for a very long time. But the way these new vampires be handling him, I kind of think he really got that edge to him that he needs to have. Like, Mario, I think, like, what you call it, training. I don't know if he's been keeping up with kind of working out these powers, because him and Louis are like, oh yeah, we gonna use the firepower together to take you out. And Lestat says to him, nah, you won't. I won't commit to that. That's actually not something that I'm going to. He said, I don't consent. I won't be dying at the hands of that, because I have the blood of Akasha in me. And Louis has no clue what that means, but Armand knows that he is screwed. I don't think the fire gift will be hurting Lestat anytime soon. Mari, what can you tell us in your vampire knowledge about the blood of Akasha and who Akasha is?
Well, if anybody knows anything about the Interview with the Vampire or the vampire lore, Akasha is the Queen of the Damned, most famously played by Aaliyah in the movie Queen of the Damned. Yes. She is revered as the mother of vampires in this world. In this world. In other vampire lore, Lilith is the mother of vampires. Yes,
yes,
that's the one that yes. But Akasha is the queen of the dead, and this first mention here was so fun. Like again, those little breadcrumbs that this series leaves is always so fun for the people who are fans of Anne Rice. But Queen of the Damned, the movie Queen of the Damned, actually was the adaptation of both the books, book 3 and book 4, which is book 2 and book 3, which is the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned. So I don't think it's frivolous that we get her mention here, because there's no way, I don't think we see her, at least maybe part 2 of the Vampire Lestat, because they're saying that, I don't know if you saw this, Chappell, but they're already saying that the Vampire Lestat will probably be a part 1 and part 2 as well. Or did you?
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
The one who told me. I think I heard that they're gonna do the same thing with the Vampire Lestat that they did with Interview. So there might be a part 1, part 2. So I think Akasha is showing up at some point. I think they casted her, actually. I think I read, because I think I read an article. Yeah, I think I was reading an article about it. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sheila Atim, I believe, has been cast as Akasha in the Vampire Lestat. I think she was in The Woman King as well. I'm pretty sure that was the role that she's known from. And so yeah, we will see her in the future. But yeah, Lestat says, I got her blood in me. So I don't care that I got Magnus blood in me. Louis, you can have my blood in me all you want, all you want, but you're not killing me today. Not like this. Now, I mean, the big question here is, what the hell is Lestat talking about? When did he get Akasha's blood? What happened?
Exactly, right? Because he says, I have the blood of Magnus and the blood of Akasha in him. And it's like, I hope that's like the first thing they explain. Like, can y'all be a tad bit more specific? Because yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, maybe it could be because if Magnus is a direct descendant of Akasha, and then it's kind of like the closer you are to the direct descendant, like, type of thing.
Yeah. But because Louis has Lestat's blood, and that means Louis has Magnus's blood. But does that mean Louis also has Akasha's blood? Or did Lestat get Akasha's blood in the meantime?
I don't know, man. They have to, again, I don't know their vampire metrics, because they are, I love Sheila Tim. Okay. Wow, love her. That's gonna be A1. Yeah. So I'm so excited for that. That's for sure.
Now that got me hyped when they said it in this, but it also, begs the question. So Lestat is basically saying, you cannot kill me with fire. Or at least with the fire gift. I'm not quite sure. We questioned at the time.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. But he basically said he has to be willing to die by fire, it felt like, which maybe because we know Magnus willingly walked into the fire. So maybe if you have that bloodline, you have to be able, you have to accept the fire in order to be undone by it, maybe?
Maybe. It was, I think the way he put it was, he said, Magnus burned, but I have the blood of Akasha in me. He doesn't know who that is, but the fact in and of itself makes you your immediate desired impossibility. I have to be willing, and I'm not in the mood. So I think Louis says, my blood is your blood. And Lestat responds, and yet. Anyway, so like that's it. I mean, the man has a flair for the dramatics, but he says, you are not going to kill me right that. And so Louis says, okay, I'll do you one better. Mr. I'm a bad bitch, you can't kill me. He says, I'm going to leave you lonely. This thing that you stood up in front of all those people and said that was the worst thing a vampire could ever feel. You made that poor human out there feel it, and they shame on you, Louis, shame on you. He said, well, feel these. And he kisses Armand and leaves Lestat there by his lonesome for an eternity, or for at least, 70 years.
Right. And again, it's like that girl on Facebook posting her husband, who has a mistress. Like, it's just like, you look foolish.
You look so dumb right now.
Yeah. I was like at my wit's end with this. Even in the first watch, I was like, that's it. Like,
I don't want to be too hard on Louis, because I did like his line, wherever your miserable life takes you, whoever you find time to endure time with, whatever pale proxy of me, I said pale, said I'll be with him. And I just wanted you to know that. And Lestat responds, well, enjoy him. Let's see how long it lasts.
Again.
Now, I think Lestat won the fight. Even in the real time.
It was very like, I think you'll get this reference, but it's very like Love is Blind season 1. Like,
deep cut.
Like, I'm gonna bounce my fat ass. Like I'm leaving. and then your wig was sliding anyway.
It was giving your wig was sliding anyway. It really was. Yeah, he said, go ahead with her. Don't F that dude, get it over with, as Future would say. So yeah, Daniel asked Armand in the moment what Lestat meant by that. Louis says, I guess he just didn't think we would make it 77 years. But we find out very soon that maybe Lestat knew a little bit more about this relationship than he was leading on. They ended up going to Egypt together. Armand and Louis go to New York, and then everywhere, and then San Francisco, and then Dubai, and that's the end of the love story. But Daniel has a few more editorial questions to ask about his book. Now, yeah. In this moment, Armand finally admits to Louis, I guess something he's never said to him in the 70 some odd years that they've been together, that Lestat did really love Louis. Okay, he traveled across the ocean to conspire to murder his child / Louis' sibling, but he never stopped loving Louis. It eats I guess Armand said it would eat him alive to admit it back then, but now he's come to terms with it. And I'm glad that he has, because Daniel has finally got the letter, the envelope that he asked for from the Talamasca. It is signed from, I guess, the source here, VSB, which we will find out later on, the vampire Sam Barton. And it is one of a kind. It is the original manuscript from the play that Lestat acts in front of Louis. And in the margins, we see words of direction from none other than Armand. Come to find out, Armand has been lying. He was there with Lestat when they were rehearsing this. In fact, he was giving the directorial notes. This was his play all along. He was not a hostage there. He was not a witness. He was not a spectator. He was the director of this very play that led to the demise of Claudia. And he has been lying to Louis about it for 77 years. Mari, what'd you think about the reveal?
It was so good. It was so juicy. So it was like, I love a juicy flashback. I love when the pieces are coming together. We do get a flashback of him directing Lestat, almost as if Lestat doesn't want to do
this. He didn't seem like he was too into it, Mark.
Yeah, and he's asking them like, how are you gonna restrain Claudia? And they're like, he was like, you can't restrain Claudia. I was like, oh, Lestat, now you admire Claudia.
He always kind of admired that Lestat part of her that was in, like, I think the parts of Claudia that he saw himself in, those were the parts of Claudia he liked. He didn't like that she was like kind of like almost like this extra piece that he had to deal with. But they were always sparring partners when she was, young, and they were all living in a house together.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so good. And I was just like, that makes so much sense. And the minute as he was talking about like, Daniel Malloy was like, back in New Orleans, you said Lestat had like mined like a whole bunch of soldiers. How many soldiers was that? Like 15, 20, 30, something like the just Jacob Anderson too, playing it so naive. Like, yeah, I might have forgot that. I don't know. Yeah. Like, it was so funny.
It's significant, like, it's just a small little portion of the story I might have got wrong, whatever. So what, it was 30 people. So what?
And Daniel was like, oh, okay. Well, you know what? Just, so just saying. So Lestat could have actually gotten all those people to say banishment, as if he's like, because you said Sam was guarding Armand, but Sam was also tossing you in the back. What's
right?
What was Armand doing? I was like, oh, this is so good. And I was like, thank you. Because I don't know, man. Louis, stand up for both of them. Like, I definitely, I loved how at the end I was like, "F you, Armand." Like, I love that, because I mean, I had been since the trial. Let's be quite clear. Like,
yeah,
I was still mad because of Claudia in the trial. So, to see him get his like comeuppance and this big revelation I thought was really good. And it also just set that paper trail throughout the whole entire season when we see Armand directing the plays, writing in the margins. And just how like he was just like, oh, poor me. I was a sad vampire that nobody was paying attention to. But then it's like, okay, so we have been talking about Armand's weakness for a long time, but it seems like Armand was playing that up. You know what I'm saying? And I think Daniel Malloy said Louis was supposed to die. So like, was Armand was like legit about to let his companion go?
Yeah, he chose the coven over Louis completely. Like, choosing banishment, what does that really do for Louis unless Armand's grand scheme is exactly what it was, right? They will banish you. Hopefully, they don't murder you immediately when we get backstage, right? Like, hopefully they don't, but instead they chose to starve him to death, which Armand had no control over. Armand, they don't pay attention to him, blah, blah, blah. He does the sacrifice or whatever, and he tells Louis, get out of here, get out of town. But he was definitely choosing the coven over Louis. Louis, for all intents and purposes, for as far as Armand is concerned, might as well have been dead because he can't stay here. Like, Armand cannot live here in this coven with Louis gallivanting around town in any shape, form, or fashion. It's just not going to work. So if Armand really wanted me to believe that he really cared about Louis like this, why didn't Armand just kill them all? He could have done the same exact thing that Louis did. When these people went to sleep, Armand could have got up, poured some gasoline on the coffins, pulled Louis out of the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, Armand was not shackled. He was just forgotten. He said he was punished.
It truly doesn't make sense because he commits to Louis' death during the trial. But the moment Louis doesn't die, he then has a change of heart, because why even rescue Louis? Like, why not just continue, with your coven? You know what I'm saying? Like, was it, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. Now all of a sudden Louis is the love of your life, but it was it trying to like him try and one up Lestat, because technically it's proven that Lestat is the one who actually loves Louis.
With that, and Armand knows that Louis never really stopped loving Lestat. Lestat has been present in their relationship the entire time you're muted, and has been present the entire time. So for him, Ghostat, although we saw Louis talking to Ghostat, Armand not dumb. He could see that man talking to Ghostat too. He could read his mind. He knew Lestat was nowhere. So this to me is like, okay, best case scenario, Louis get banished, but the last thing he saw was Lestat basically ordering the murder of Claudia, right? So there's no world where, even if he were to find this out, like, there's no way he would believe anything that Lestat said. Like, he can't check his notes, right? And then on top of that, with Louis coming back and being on a revenge like tour and murdering everybody in the building, who else is going to corroborate the story? It's Armand's word versus everybody else's. And the one person who could have cleared it up was Lestat, who said nothing because he's a drama queen and his feelings was hurt. So it was a weird plan from Armand for sure, but watching it crumble down the way it did was so great. Like I just love Daniel Malloy as a character. This big reveal, this moment of like, oh, Lestat loved you, so he would have been just as
incentivized.
just incentivized to save you as Armand would. In fact, it would make more sense for it to have been Lestat because Armand, you mean to tell me Sam was the only thing keeping you in there? Mm-hmm. You know, like he was being guarded by Sam. What was Sam supposed to do? Come to find out, Sam working for the Talamaster, Mari.
Yeah. So I have so many like kind of questions, not questions, statements. I don't know, but like, so it was almost like Armand was like, I'm choosing the coven because, like he said, he didn't like Louis wasn't choosing him. Louis was choosing Lestat. So it was kind of like, if I can't have you, nobody can. I'm setting you up. But then with this whole thing and Lestat, that bridge being burned with Lestat, he was like, oh, okay, now I can be the guy that I don't know. That just seems weird. But anyways, yeah, Vampire Sam is with the Talamasca. And so again, I didn't read the Talamasca books. So he was basically their plant. What is the Talamasca? Just, I guess it's just they're keeping track of the vampires. So that's what I'm assuming.
It seems like it. I don't know if they have undercover vampire agents, double agents or whatever. Right. We see that a lot of times. Because Sam is the only one who gets away. They say that he is a DJ somewhere with a big old like helmet on or something like that. I don't know. Maybe Dead Mouse. Maybe Dead Mouse. But yeah, Sam was the person with the intel here, and he was the one who got this information to the Talamasca. They have Lestat's, Armand's handwriting directing Lestat through this, and then we of course did see that clip of Lestat even kind of pushing back at different points against the way things were going down during that play. Now, Lestat is also complicit. He definitely signed up to come make sure that Claudia died. He wanted to get his revenge, but it does feel like his revenge stopped at Louis. And so Louis is not happy, obviously, to find this out. And Armand is just, that's what I'm saying. He ain't been working out at all. Armand got at least 100 years on Louis for sure. You gonna let Louis punk you like this? Like, fight on him. Yeah, fight back. I mean, look, we've already spoken out against domestic violence enough on this podcast, but I feel like once the breakup happens, this was a fight.
I mean,
what's the
yes? At least don't get hold like this. Like, what was happening?
Like, then he told Armand, and you can't touch Daniel either, or I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, Armand, yeah, you just gonna let this man? What's up?
But why, Daniel? The thing, they said get out. Why are you taking so long? Get out.
Daniel, a bold man, Mari, because why was he sitting there doing that in front of Armand? Armand could have reached over and sliced that man's neck and kept on talking like nothing happened. And Daniel like, yeah, Armand, you thought we weren't going to find out that you was, so you did all of this, that, and the other. I was like, hey, Daniel, chill. That's a vampire, bro. Chill out. He gets away with this somehow. Louis smacks Armand around, tells him not to follow Daniel, to get your shit and get out.
And I'm just like, Louis will never learn his lesson. Kill these people. Like,
kill him.
You can't break up as a vampire.
Has Lestat taught you nothing? You can't just break up. This is
break up. Oh, you can't just break
up. Incredible reveal. Daniel somehow makes it out of this alive. Louis gives him $10 million for his trouble. He does set the laptop ablaze, which I thought was just for dramatic effect because in the cloud.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, save somewhere, right? Like,
he had to write the book, right? So, like, so yeah, there you go. Daniel gets out. His book sells millions of copies in just 4 months. I believe it was like 5 million copies in 4 months. Mm-hmm. And Louis is he got nothing but time. So he goes back to his old haunt, New Orleans, and I believe I actually saw this scene being filmed when I was in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. They said they were filming Interview with the Vampire, and I was like, Interview with the Vampire season 2 is not in New Orleans. And I'm like, oh, there's that one scene. So maybe I think I've seen this, but yeah, he goes to New Orleans. He spots another vampire out hunting rats. He follows that vampire in the middle of a hurricane, category 4-ish hurricane. And in that hurricane, he finds a shack where Lestat is found playing a piece of wood.
Yeah. Lestat has gone full like hoarder vampire, eating rats, playing a piece of wood. He said he's got to get ready for his thing. It's just like, again, Lestat was just dicking around for 70 years while he waited for Louis to figure out everything that happened.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm good now. Let me go off to my next venture.
Yeah. What's 70 years when you have an eternity to live? You know, he's like, whatever. It's a drop in a bucket, really. And so, yeah, he says he's going to go take the place of this classical pianist who's retiring, and he's going to take about 50 years from the practice and get that good, but he'll be there. And he's even got an iPhone. He has Siri.
That did feel weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're reminded, like, oh, we're in normal times now, and Lestat has an iPhone, and his fledgling is like emo rocker.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
Well, the rock thing might be something that comes back around with the Vampire Lestat, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Louis asked Lestat point blank if he saved him in Paris, and Louis says, yeah, I mean, just figured, you know, I gave you to Armand. If that's what you think saving is, then yeah, I guess I did that. And he doesn't like to point out his virtues, Mari. He's just that kind of guy. He's a very humble, you know, don't like to brag about the things he does.
What's that? It's very funny, but I'm like, I can't. Like, I literally just came out here and talked so much shit about, like we said, intimate partner violence for like reasons. This is how they get you. This is how they get you.
Because am I in on this relationship? So y'all go to kiss, you know, like, so I don't know.
Right.
So, my favorite line was when Lestat says, oh, look, I was right. Hail me, you know, like what you want, a cupcake? What you want, a cookie? So Lestat has been living in New Orleans ever since. This is his home. She is him. He is she. And he admits that there was that one time, September 8th, 1973, at 11:07 Central Time, that he got a call from Armand. He said, were you there when that happened? Louis, of course, admits that, yes, that happened. And then Lestat, teary-eyed, asked if Louis hurt himself. And it really does feel like that is the worst thing that Lestat could have heard, right? Is that like Louis chose to, again, to go into the sun, you know, to end it all. This life that, I mean, obviously Louis is in a weird way, Lestat's, you know, fledgling his child or whatever. But also it's the love of his life. And it just kills him to know, mind you, this is the same person who tortured Claudia right in front of him is now sitting in front of him as if like the very thought of Louis not existing would just be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he also talks about Claudia here too. And sorry, but I also thought, like, you know, the whole your maker can feel you type thing, like that's probably another thing why he wouldn't have wanted Louis out of the world, because he would have felt
part of him. You know? Yeah. So there's some apologies going around. Louis admits that he didn't know anything you know, about the vampire gift, and like once he didn't embrace it, right? Like he looked at it as a curse, and he wore it like a curse, and he wanted Lestat to suffer because he was suffering. And he ends up thanking him for the gift. Lestat, of course, is saddened by the memory of how Claudia, you know, ended up dying. And he says he can't get her out of his mind. And it's been torturing them both, you can tell. So Louis takes the blame. He saved her from the fire originally. Lestat begged him not to. And a half century later, she would be murdered by the son. But Lestat says she looked at him for the very last time like a child looking at his father, and you can tell he has remorse because he was never really a father to her, and he regrets everything. And the two of them just embrace with a hurricane around them in this shack that is shaking. They share one loving scene together as the episode proper ends. Very like Cersei and Jamie like holding each other at the end. Like, it's like as the world is crumbling around them. A part of me hates this because what are we doing, Louis? Louis, please, Louis.
I mean, technically, he did stand up. They're not together. They're just made up. They're not.
Are they not together? Louis, do we trust him?
Louis went back to Dubai,
so he done backsliding
the whole world. I hope so.
Yeah. So Louis does go back to Dubai. That's when we find out that Daniel Malloy is a vampire. Maury,
messed up.
What do you think? Yeah, Armand made him.
Yeah, which is, and then like, you know, Armand doesn't like making people.
This is literally Armand's only fledgling.
Like a dick, but I'm trying to figure out, because Daniel Malloy didn't in the book he asked for it. In the book Daniel Malloy goes.
He technically asked for it back in San Francisco. He did ask for it back in San Francisco. Yeah, he ain't asking for it currently.
No, he's gonna be old. I mean, he's not. He doesn't look. I don't know.
Look better than Parkinson's, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. It cured his Parkinson's. But like, yeah, he's a vampire now. I like that little reveal, because at first I was like, you're a vampire? And then he walked out with the phone. I was like, oh, okay, no, he's not. And then he turned the phone off. I was like, oh, he is. Like, he was going back and forth. Yeah. That was good.
The idea that Armand waited all of this time to finally make a vampire, and he did it out of complete spite. It's like the one thing that he would never do. He did it just because he hates Daniel Malloy that much.
Again, Armand's motivations, weird. Down.
Yeah. Because, like, just kill him. But I guess for Daniel wasn't afraid of death really in those moments. Remember, if Daniel was really afraid of death, he wouldn't have been in a lair with two vampires the entire time. You know what I'm saying?
The entire time, like, yes, exactly.
So I guess this was kind of like one of those like fate worse than death kind of things.
I can see that. But he's also like now a best-selling author and all this stuff. So it's like...
He is. Some of the world is ridiculing him because this is a memoir about a vampire, which, you know, should not exist because vampires should not exist. But Daniel Malloy doubles down. He's selling a bunch of books, 5 million books in 4 months, and he is trying to get Louis to agree to a sequel. Now, but it's kind of like I'm of two minds, right? So Daniel's like, "So what's up? We bring it back for book 2," and Louis like, "Nah, I'm good." But Daniel, you want book 2 to happen, but you also can hear the sounds of all these other vampires who have now read the literature, know that Louis has broken one of these great laws, and is just sitting in Dubai waiting on these other vampires to run up. So which one is it, Daniel? Do you want another book, or do you want to save Louis, or do you not care?
Right. I don't. He was just like run up and get done up. Like it was. I don't know what Louis doing, but again, he's just like, yeah, he owns the night. I mean, cool. I don't know.
Is Louis like the baddest vampire alive right now? Like, is he the one? Is he the guy? Because he kind of acting like he the guy.
He is acting like that.
But like,
I didn't read any of the later stuff, so I have no clue.
Yeah,
like he's like, come at it. And I was like, okay.
He said, if y'all asses want to keep talking shit, here's my address. You know where I am.
Sure did. He did. He gave them everything.
Yep. He said, I live up in this room. This is what kind of coffin it is. If you're afraid of the daytime, my coffin makes it's just like nighttime in here. You ain't got no worries. Just come whenever you're ready. I'll be here ready for your ass.
I think he told them when security was a little lax too.
He says, they're mortals. You can deal with it. It's okay. If you really want it, I'm here. So, yeah, all right. So that's it. Interview with the Vampire ends with Louis basically being a sitting duck after outing the vampire ancient texts and secrets to the world for Daniel Malloy's gain, and Daniel Malloy potentially looking to make a sequel to his book. We know the Talamasca was the editors of his book in a way, so they've cut out a lot of the story, but enough is in there for the vampires to be very upset with Louis. We also know that Lestat is alive, and we know that the third movie is the Vampire Lestat, and so I imagine that we might be getting less of Louis in the next iteration of Interview with the Vampire, but a lot more of the Vampire Lestat.
Yeah, exactly. I think in the end of the book, Daniel Malloy goes to search out Lestat, to ask him for the dark gift and stuff like that. But that could be a way for him to I don't know, interview Lestat. I don't know. But yeah, this was great. This was a fun ride, that's for sure. And now I might gotta look for links for the Telemasca show if I have time to see what that's about.
I've heard mixed reviews. So I've heard some people be like, the first couple episodes wasn't really giving me anything, but then by the further we get into it, I think people were warming up to it a lot. But we haven't had anybody in the comments like, you have to watch the Talamasca. And so if you watch Interview with the Vampire 1 and 2 and you have now watched the Talamasca, let us know. Is that required reading for us? Is that something we need to check out before we watch the Vampire Lestat, or can we just go directly into the Vampire Lestat? Because they didn't market the Talamasca like it was like the next iteration of Interview with the Vampire. It almost kind of feels like it is like its own separate series that's in the same universe.
Right. I think that's what it is. And I'm just wondering, AMC Plus, who is their home network? I'm wondering if all of this network shuffling is what might keep the Vampire Lestat off the screen for a little while.
I don't know. We'll have to see. We are still waiting on a date for that, but I want to get into something that could potentially be spoilery. Mari, so if you're listening to this, obviously, tap out. You don't want to hear nothing like this, but Mari, we need to talk about RJ. Raglan James, I believe was his name. Do you recognize this man at all from the books?
Don't get me the line.
Okay, so according to the vampirecronicles.fandom.com wiki, Raglan James is the antagonist in The Tale of the Body Thief. He is a gifted psychic whose abilities enable him to switch bodies with people. So there is that one little Easter egg he drops in I want to say it was in the last pair of episodes we talked about, where he says, if I could switch bodies with you, I'd be in charge of the Talamasca. And so I'm assuming he is in the Talamasca show. But I think that that he is one of the people that we did see in this, that he could potentially be a main character in the Vampire Lestat, or we could see maybe some body switching with the Vampire Lestat and Raglan James or Louis or whoever else is left. If he's jumping in and out of bodies while the Vampire Lestat is doing whatever he is about to be doing, I could definitely see that for a fun time. So I've been holding on to that because when I was doing my notes, I saw it and I said, oh, that's interesting. Add some more mystical creatures into the mix. I'm gonna go okay with that.
Right, please. That's really cool. I don't see him credited here in the Talamasca show. But I don't know. It does have a lot of mixed reviews. I do see that.
Yeah, people were not loving it from what I could tell. But he is in at the very least episode 1 of the Talamasca wet work. So yeah, maybe there will be more of him to come. As you've already outlined, Akasha will be around for the Vampire Lestat. And to the people who, again, are more familiar, like I said, if you didn't want any spoilers, you wouldn't be here. But the Vampire Lestat is about how Lestat goes and does this little rock and roll thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm excited to see how they translate that.
Yeah, me too.
Because when will it be set? Since they kind of came all the way up to they came up to 2020, so it's I wonder how they're gonna do that setting for him, being a rock star and all of that.
Well, rock stars aren't really a thing like that in the 2020s.
Exactly. That's why I'm I want to kind of see. And the what you call the poster, the series poster that we have for the Vampire Lestat is very glam rock looking.
Yeah, which would make way more sense for someone who looks like Sam Reed. He's got the hair, I'm thinking that maybe we're about to find out what Lestat was doing.
See,
in the meantime.
That's what I thought we were going to be doing as well. That's what I thought too. But I guess we'll see. Because that's what I thought. I thought we were getting like 80s glam.
Yeah.
Like Lestat. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be okay with it. I mean, listen, there's still rock music today, but they don't have the same gravity that the rockers of the glam rock days. Yeah, they don't have the same energy. And I think Lestat owns that type of energy. He's just that dramatic and extra. So more to come when we finally get to the next iteration of Interview with the Vampire. But Mari, that's it. One last time, do you have a book for anybody to read at this point? Should we just go read the Vampire Lestat? Like, what are we doing?
I do. So it is a hold on. It's a pure fantasy, a little bit of romance. Book talk people would know it, but it is scrolling. This is still good podcasting. Y'all better stick around.
Look, if it was up to me, I'd be like, go read. But we already said go read True Blood. Go read Twilight.
Oh my God, no, exactly. I didn't know. It's called the House of Ash and Bone. It's one of those. So it's like, or the Kingdom of Ash and Bone. I thought I would have it on my phone. But it's a like young adult type book. It's like marginal vampires. Like it's like you kind of don't figure out it's vampires until like at the end, and it's kind of like it's a mystical realm. It's pure fantasy. It's a little bit different. I was trying to pick something that was like different from my other recommends. So it's like pure high fantasy. It's like a different realm, princesses, kings and queens. These people rule this realm. These people rule these realms type of thing. But of course, it's not coming up on my Audible when I need it.
You know what vampire show I really liked, Mari? I liked Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I watched it 4 times. Like it would just I would get under the influence and I would just sit and watch it. And the monologues are so good, but it doesn't present itself like a vampire show. If you haven't already watched it, then you'll see what I'm saying. If you have watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a very clever way of telling a story that we've heard these stories so many different times in different ways, but to me, that is one of my favorites. So if you don't have another book to read, definitely check out Midnight Mass on Netflix if you are just looking for another good tale of some blood sucking.
Exactly. We'll go with that because it's still not popping up on my phone. My phone is betraying me right now.
I tried to buy you some time.
Horrible. Yeah, I know you did. You did a great job. But I read too much, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm like scrolling through all of my like murder mysteries. Too much. Yeah, and all of that. And Chappell won't let me. Recommend anything that's not vampire related.
Right, because that does not the assignment. That's not the assignment. We will have plenty more books and stuff to talk about soon, Mara, because you and I will be talking about Game of Thrones some more. Yay! Tell everybody what we have coming.
All right, so we will be covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which did you see? I sent you the they released the run times for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We talked about it before. It's 6 episodes. The run times, y'all, the first episode is like 40 minutes and the rest is like 30 minutes. Ooh. So some people are perturbed.
Yeah, I would be. It's been several thousand days since the last time we saw Game of Thrones.
Exactly. And it's like if they would have just originally released this when they were supposed to, I don't think people would have been mad. But like, yeah, it's like the first episode is 44 minutes and then it's like 37, 31, 33. Like it's like that. That's coming out January 15th, I believe, somewhere around there. something of that nature. But we'll be covering that. That's based on the novella, the Duncan Egg novella, and the Hedge Knight. That's the first one, the Hedge Knight. So if you want to read that before and you want to listen to us talk about it, you can do that. If not, we'll be talking about the show, and then I'll be doing book comparisons, the book corner like we normally do. So it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be quick 6 weeks plus 30-minute episodes. So but it's good. Like, no matter what, the Hedge Knight, this novella is so good. It's a very good offshoot of Game of Thrones, and it's insular. I think we've talked about it. It is like the exact opposite of both the House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, where like normally we get point of views from different characters that are all over the map. This is literally like a bottle type of season. All of the main characters are in one setting, and it's a one central conflict that will change the course of Game of Thrones history. So it's really good. I'm really excited for all of us to go on this journey together.
Yeah, if you weren't familiar with our previous coverage, Mari and I did talk about House of the Dragon here on the Westeros Kickback. And so that content can be found on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@recapkickback, or you could just go to our podcast feed and scroll back to the days where we talked about that. Mari is a expert on the subject. Once again, she has read the books, and so she is able to give a lot of context outside of the story. And then you can go and follow how Mari is on the wrong team and I am on the green team. And so go check that out. And then Mari, tell everybody else what you are working on and where else they can find you until we return in the new year.
You can find me over on Crime Scene. You can go to crimescenepod.com in order to subscribe. Me, Sarah Carradine, are doing true crime over there, true crime review podcast. We've been having an amazing year this year. We'll be wrapping up with our like end of the year podcast, where we're going to talk about like our favorite true crimes of the year, our favorite podcast of the year, a lot of like superlatives, while we'll also be covering the new Predators documentary. There's a documentary that came out on Paramount Plus that was about How to Catch a Predator. To Catch a Predator. You know, the Chris Hansen Dateline. Yeah,
I call him Chris Handsome.
Yeah, they did a documentary about that, and I cannot wait. Y'all gotta hear it, because I watched that and I was like, I don't know what this documentary is trying to tell me about, what it's trying to say about To Catch a Predator. I don't think it was very revering of the subject. So if you want to hear us talk about that, you can go to crimescenepod.com and subscribe to listen. You can also go to buymeacoffee.com/crimescenepod over there if you want exclusive. We do exclusive content coverage over there. Drop a few dollars, become a supporter. You get access to everything that we do behind the scenes there. So, yep.
All right. And thank you so much, Mari, for coming with me on this journey. And thank you all for listening. And then make sure you check out all the stuff we have coming your way in the new year. Chantel and I are still wrapping up the Flavor of Love series, but then we are moving on to I Love New York after that. And so you can catch us live on YouTube talking about that. Gia and I are still talking about Abbott Elementary. Puya and I have Bel Air finale coverage, final season coverage. So check that out all here on recapkickback.com. And then, of course, let me know what else it is you want us to talk about here on Recap Kickback. You can also catch Gia's Bet on Black newsletter, her Substack. We're going to be posting that to talk about all the Black Survivor players and Black reality TV contestants over the years. Gia's been doing hard work on that, and we will, of course, be promoting it here on Recap Kickback. But the only way you can keep up with all the stuff we have is by subscribing to the podcast feed, youtube.com/@recapkickback and recapkickback.com/subscribe. But that is it for Mari and for myself. And for all the rest of y'all, have a very happy holiday, happy new year, and we will catch you all on the flip side. Peace. I've been trapped behind Suave Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.